impact our own markets. We have a research team joining in to tell you just that. We have with us Ekta and Nigel joining us today. First up, Ekta, let me come across to you. What is the market setup looking like today?
Well, you all have discussed the biggest Q already, and that was basically what took place in the US on Friday, where Powell has warned of some pain ahead at the Jackson Hole Symposium speech, and the Dow closed 1,000 points lower. The September 20th Fed meet is now going to be in focus, and also the markets are likely to be repricing the idea of cuts eventually, which the street was contemplating at one point in time. The European markets closed lower on Friday. The Sensex and the Nifty probably got a whiff of it because they had snapped their 5-week winning streak on Friday. The markets were off the highs, but they ended in the green in what was a volatile session. And the FIIs net sold around 51 odd crores. Let's see whether that turns into a trend and whether this is a start of further selling pressure. But nonetheless, there was a small sell figure which came in from the FIIs. DIIs compensated handsomely by buying around 453 odd crores. Asia in the red at this point in time. SGX also indicating a down start for our markets. And Brent crude, there are always fears that a recession will result in lower commodity prices, but that doesn't seem to be the case this morning. $101 per barrel on Brent crude, as the OPEC has signaled that they might cut output, so that's probably weighing on Brent prices at this point.
Okay, those are the market cues, and it will remain about markets as well today, Ekta, but a lot of stocks will be in focus as well.
Well, surprisingly, there's a lot of news to reckon with today. So like you mentioned, it is the Reliance Industries AGM, which will be 2 p.m. onwards. So that the street will be squarely focused on in terms of cues. Ultratech Cement, they've commissioned a cement capacity in Uttar Pradesh. Tata Steel has signed an MOU with the Punjab government. NHPC had earlier signed an MOU with the Himachal Pradesh government. So now they've said that an implementation agreement has been signed between the two parties. Cipla, Glenmark, Jubilant, Pharmova, all of these stocks will be in focus on account of US FDA regulatory action. IR, especially Cipla, I would watch out for quite keenly. IRCTC e-tender for appointment of consultant for data monetization has been withdrawn. RITES, their JV's got an order worth around 361 crores. SRF has commissioned a project in Indore, which is a total capex of 446 crores. GMR is going to consider some amount of fundraising. And Rolex Rings, there is a PE firm, Rivendell, which has sold its entire stake. So that stock might be in focus too.
That is a long list, Ekta. Thank you so much for joining us with all those details. And finally, Nigel is joining us with all the cues from the FNO space this morning. Hey, Nigel.
Well, morning, Sonal. Before we get to the cues, wishing you, I hope you had a great birthday, and belated wishes from all of us here at CNBC-TV18 weekend should have been special for you.
Thank you.
But getting to the market action there, in terms of flows, the FIs, well, they were sellers, but you need to adjust for the Rolex Rings large trade. So stripped of that, actually, the FIs would have been buyers yet again, though the buying quantum has come down substantially. In the FNO market, the FIs, they covered some shorts, so they continue to remain net short on the index. Close to around 61% of their positions are on the short side. On the option side, well, they're buying calls as well as puts, and they're writing more calls than puts, telling you that at higher levels, you could see some bit of resistance that will creep in. A couple of strikes that are very active. The 17,700 call has the highest open interest. It was very, very active. Premium at around 85 rupees odd. That's telling you that's the bears. They believe 17,800, 18,000, that range belongs to them. On the downside, though, the 17,500 put was very active. Now, important to note that today we'll be starting below that 17,400 odd level. So there is a lot of unwinding at this strike. That's telling you the bulls are throwing in the towel. So keep an eye out on that one. What are the levels you're looking at? Remember, our markets were preempting some bit of a disappointment, whether it was earnings, whether a domestic or global factor. We've got the global disappointment because of the hawkish Fed. We've corrected close on 450 points from the recent peak. That's just in the last few days odd. The recent low is at around that 17,350. The 20 DMA as well as what we'll break. Now, the SGX Nifty suggesting that we're likely to start off in that vicinity of around 17,250 to around 17,300 odd. If we start out here, and if we can hold on to the first hour lows, which is extremely crucial, maybe risk reward favors the bulls at around this mark of around 17,250. Not a day to be brave, but in case you want to, then that's the crucial mark you're looking at, 17,250 to around 17,300. Back to you.
Okay, all right, Nigel, Ekta, thank you so much for joining us and prepping us up for this very crucial day ahead.